So, you're planning a trip to Italy, right? Bellissimo! You are about to enter a world of incredible food, wine, and ancient ruins. But before you hop on that plane and find yourself in Rome, trying to figure out if you ordered a coffee or accidentally bought the entire cafe, let's make sure you've got the basics covered. Because listen, Italy is amazing, but if you land at the wrong airport, pack for the wrong season, or try to tip like someone from New York City, well, let's just say you might end up being that tourist.
And nobody wants to be that tourist. In today's video, we are diving into everything you need to know before you go. Which airport you want you to get stranded in the middle of nowhere, how to get around like a local, the best time to visit so you don't melt like a gelato in July, what to pack so you are ready for anything from cobblestone streets to spontaneous wine tasting. Whether or not to tip, and no, it's not that complicated, and finally, we'll cover travel insurance because no one wants their Roman holiday turning into Roman hospital bill. Oh, and we'll throw a few Italian phrases that you might just save you from ordering cow stomach when you want to meet lasagna. So grab a coffee or a glass of wine, sit back, and let's get ready to conquer Italy without looking like a total rookie.
Ciao everyone, I'm Rick.
And I'm Andrea. We live in Italy and we love to share with you our knowledge about Italy so you too can have a wonderful time while visiting. So let's begin our video about Italy travel basics by talking about which airport should you fly in. Well, if you're coming to Italy, then you fly into Rome, right? Well, wrong. Rome is Italy's main hub and busiest airport, but it's not the only airport in the country. Rome is located right in the middle of the country and can be a good place to start your visit. But if you are doing a trip around the country, you might want to consider flying in one place and flying out to another. For example, if you're going to visit Venice, Milan, Florence, and Rome, it will make much more sense to fly into Venice and fly out from Rome. That way, you won't waste a day traveling back and forth the country. So let's see which one are the major airports you can use to fly in and out of Italy. In the north, we have Venice Marco Polo, which is very well connected with most European hubs. Also in the north, you have Milan Malpensa, which is Italy's second busiest airport, and it's very well connected with a lot of North American destinations and European destinations. Also, in Milan, you have Linate Airport that is mostly connected with European destinations. There are a few other airports in the north, but you will just stick with the most important and popular ones. Moving to central Italy, you have Florence Vespucci Airport, which is a great hub for a tour of Tuscany. Also in central Italy, you will find Rome Fiumicino, that is the biggest and busiest airport in Italy. Now, moving to the south of the country, you'll find Naples Airport. It's a great place to start your Italian holiday, especially if you want to visit the Amalfi Coast, Capri Island, and Pompeii. Now, moving on to the island of Sicily, there are two main airports, Catania and Palermo, that are very well connected with most European hubs. And in Sardinia, you have three airports, Olbia, Cagliari, and Nargero, which are also very well connected.
Well, now that you know where to fly into, let's explore how to move around the country. If you plan a trip to Italy, the best way to move around the country is by train, especially if you're visiting Italy's biggest cities. In fact, the Italian high speed train is excellent, efficient, comfortable, and fast.
Very fast.
And of course, we've made several videos about Italy's high speed trains, and you can watch our most recent one up here. Now, if you're planning on visiting some of the smaller cities or the most rural areas, like the beautiful Cinque Terre, for example, you're going to have to be using the regional trains. Those types of trains are, well, less fancy than the previous ones, but they're still comfortable, efficient, and super cheap. Now, some areas cannot be reached by train, and to visit those areas, like Tuscany, for example, You're going to need to either rent a car or take an organized tour. Driving in Italy is generally also not difficult to do, with some exceptions that we'll cover in a bit. However, it does have some challenges. In fact, we made an entire video about how you can drive in Italy, and go ahead and check it out up here. Now, there are areas of driving that is not recommended, and I won't even drive in this area, even though we have lots of experience driving in Italy. The most important area we strongly recommend not to drive is south of Naples, especially the Amalfi Coast. On the Amalfi Coast, roads are very narrow, very windy, with a lot of traffic, especially during peak season.
Mhm.
For this reason, we strongly recommend you to take an organized tour if you want to visit this stunning place. And of course, you can take a look at this QR code for some of the tours on the Amalfi Coast, or check the link in the description.
Let's move on to our next tip about visiting Italy, and we talk about when is the best time to visit. Most tourists in Italy visit Italy in the summer, but this doesn't mean summer is the best time to visit. In fact, in our opinion, summer is probably the worst time to visit. This is because June, July, and August are the hottest months, the busiest months, and the most expensive months. So, unless you want to spend most of your time on a beach or swimming in the Mediterranean, we strongly recommend you not to do your trip in the summer. In our opinion, the best time to visit Italy are the so-called shoulder seasons. Shoulder season is the technical term that means between peak season and low season. So, when are the shoulder season in Italy, you might ask? The first one is the early spring, April and beginning of May, and the other one is September and October. During those months, temperatures are very pleasant, cities are less packed with tourists, and prices for hotel and flights are much more reasonable. So, if you can plan your trip in those months, you will be very, very happy, and your wallet will be happy too.
Absolutely. It's really good advice. Okay, so it's time to explore another tip about traveling to Italy, and we're going to talk about the exciting topic of travel insurance.
Fun.
So, Italy has an excellent medical system that's free for Italian and EU citizens and residents, but it's not free for tourists. In case of an emergency, tourists are treated by the Italian medical system, but they might bill you for the treatment. Even though the price for medical treatment is usually not very expensive, it is always recommended to have some sort of medical travel insurance when traveling to Italy.
Or anywhere, by the way.
That's true. And when buying your travel insurance, always carefully read the contract carefully so that you know what's included, especially if you have pre existing conditions. Also, make sure to read how to use the insurance because, in many cases, in order to be covered, you have to contact the insurance company's toll free number as soon as there's a potential claim and follow their instructions. Because sometimes the insurance company wants you to do that before you even see a doctor, if possible.
Okay, let's talk about another topic about visiting Italy, and we talk about language. If you're traveling to major tourist spots in Italy like Rome, Florence, Venice, Milan, Naples, chances are that almost everyone speaks some English, especially at hotels, attractions, restaurants, and stores. If you're traveling to the countryside or less touristy areas, chances are finding English speakers are very, very few. For this reason, we strongly recommend you to download a translator on your phone, such as Google Translator or Apple Translate, to get around. A couple of words that you should learn when you travel to Italy are grazie, that means thank you, but anybody knows this. Prego, that means you are welcome. Scusi, that means excuse me. Buongiorno, that means good morning. And buonasera, that means good evening. Il conto per favore, which is the bill please. And dov'è il bagno, which is where is the bathroom. Lastly, you should learn quanto costa, which it means how much it costs.
Yeah, I think that my first one was Dobel buying. Yeah.
So with those, you should be able to get around just fine.
Right. And this, of course, brings us to our next topic about the basics of traveling to Italy. And we'll talk about roaming. Now, before your trip to Italy, check with your cell phone provider to see how much they will charge you for roaming in Italy. Because in Italy, they have probably some of the cheapest rates for cell phone data around, and chances are your at home cell phone provider is going to charge you way more money.
Mhm.
So here's what you do. You can buy an eSIM that works with pretty much every major or modern phone all over Europe with no extra charge, just 10 euros a month at most, right? And we'll leave a link in the description for an eSIM that you can check out.
Moving on to another topic of visiting Italy, I will talk about tipping. So, if you are used to the tipping North American tipping culture, you might be happy to know that tipping in Italy is not required. Service at restaurant is included in the bill, and you do not have to pay for it. However, if the service was very nice and you had a good experience, a nice time, you can give a few euros in cash to your servers. Normally, 5 euros is way more than enough for the entire table. When you check in hotels, the porter helps you. If the porter helps you with your bag, you can leave him a euro or two per bag as tip. You do not need to tip taxi drivers, hairdresser, baristas, even though they might ask, and this is becoming more common.
And if they do, just say, scusi.
Exactly. If you want to know more about tipping in Italy, we made an entire video about the topic and you can watch it up here.
Mhm. All right, so our next topic about the basics of traveling to Italy, and this is another fun topic.
You have all the fun one, right?
I do. We're going to talk about taxes. Well, follow me. When you go to a store in Italy, some items might seem a bit more expensive than what you might be used to seeing back home. However, it's very important to keep something in mind. Sales taxes are already included in the price. So, if you see 20 euros on the tag, 20 euros is what you pay.
Mhm.
Now, sales taxes for most items is 22%. That's the VAT. However, here's where it gets fun. If you make a purchase over 70 euros, you can claim the VAT back at the airport. Now, the procedure's a little complicated, but here's how it goes. First, when you make the purchase, ask the store for the tax free. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to put your name and your passport details on the invoice, and most everybody's trained to do this. Second, you have to have the invoice stamped by the customs agent at the airport. And the customs agent might even ask to see the items. So make sure you have them available to show. After having your invoice validated, you can go to the VAT refund booth to get your refund. Now, for more information, we will be happy to leave you a link in the description below so you can get some of that money back on your trip.
So let's move on to our final tip about visiting Italy and we talk about packing. One big mistake we see tourists make over and over again is when traveling around Italy is overpacking and travel around with huge bags. This can be a big problem, especially when you are taking trains, because you will have to load and unload your bag yourself up, on, and off the train. Also, some hotels and bed and breakfasts are located in old buildings with small elevators or steps to climb to get in and out. For this reason, we strongly suggest you to pack light and do not overpack. In the summer, you only need light clothes, while in the springs and fall, you can layer with your clothes with a little jacket and you'll be more than enough. Also, do not bring your fancy hair dryer or anything else that is very heavy, because chances are it won't work with the 220 volts. Use the one that is provided by the hotel, and your bag will thank you. One thing to pack is a pair of very comfortable walking shoes because you will have to walk a lot when you're visiting Italy, often on uneven ground. So make sure you have the right shoes and well broken in.
Well, folks, that's what we have for you today. We hope you've learned something that will make planning your trip to Italy easy and fun. If you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing, and perhaps even giving us a thumbs up because this will help our channel a lot and will encourage us to make more videos for you. And as usual, if you have any questions, leave a comment below because we will do our best to answer them as much as quickly as we can. In the meantime, we'll see you in our next video. Ciao!